audition orchestra. He produced big, huge hits, Aretha Franklin, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Kenny G. I mean, the list goes on and on with this guy. Well, I was one of the first call background singers for a lot of the records that Narda would do, because we all live in San Francisco Bay Area. We're all right there. So I was one of the first call with him, and I was doing a lot of sessions. And I also, because I got about 5 or 6 bands that about 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them I put together myself in the Bay Area now, which I still have, and I work with about 3 or 4 other groups. But there's this one group that I have called Spangalang, and back years ago in the group Spangalang, we had a drummer in the band by the name of Ronnie Beck, who used to also play with Tower of Power. When Dave Garibaldi left many years ago, Ronnie was one of the drummers that replaced him. And at the same time, in that band, the keyboard player by the name of Chester Thompson, who later on ended up with Santana, who I was in the band with. Well, Chester and Ronnie were really good friends. And Ronnie and I had this group called Spangalang. So when Chester would come off the road, this was after he left Tower, he was with Santana, but when they would come off the road, Chester would always come out and see us. And it was 5 guys in the group, Spangalang, and the group it was pretty amazing because we had 5 lead vocal singers in that group. There was 5 of us and all of us to do lead, so you can imagine what the harmonies would sound like when we were singing. It was crazy. And Chester he loved the band so much he would come out and see us. So this one time he came out and he said, "Hey man, Santana is auditioning singers, and I'd like to throw your name in the pot if you want to do it." And I went, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And I really didn't care if I did it or not because I was doing so well with doing all the recording sessions with Narda, and I was doing a lot of jingles, commercial stuff with this ad agency up in the Sausalito area, which is just on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. So I was like doing really well, making a lot of money, and I was doing the commercials, the jingle stuff at least 4 times a week, and I was up at Narda's doing recording sessions about the same amount of time. So when I took the Santana gig, I actually took a cut and pay. I did the audition, and it worked out perfect because the audition, Santana and Narda's office were probably 4 blocks away from each other, from where Narda's studio was and where they did the audition, because they both lived in the same area. So they sent me, back in the day, there was cassette tapes back then. You guys probably, you don't even remember cassette tapes. So they sent me a tape of about 4 songs to learn for the audition. So I said, okay. So I went up and I did the audition. And then after I finished the audition, which instead of 4 songs, we did 2. And Carlos said, "Hey man, I don't need to hear anymore." So I'm thinking, well, I guess he didn't like me. I said, who cares? So I go over and do the recording session with Narda, and when I get home, I see all of these, it must have been about 5 messages I had on my answer machine, and all 5 of them were from the Santana office. Say, "Hey, the first one started out, "Yeah, this is Kevin." Kevin was the manager at the time. "Yeah, call me back. Carlos really likes you. So as the messages went on, and because I was up and doing a recording session for hours, they started getting more intense. "Hey man, are you gonna call me back or what? He really wants you to do this gig." And then they started, "Hey, you know what, man? You better call me back." So I finally called him back, and he said, "Where?" I said, "Well, I was doing the session." He said, "Well, Carlos really likes you. If you want the gig, it's yours." And I went, "Really?" And that was it. And one thing that I found out with me, and I don't know if it's like this with anybody else, I hate doing auditions. I hate them. Because people are expecting something from you, and you want to go in and you want to give your best performance, but at the same time, it's kind of nerve-wracking. Because you're like, "Oh, did I do a good job?" And you know what? You may not have put your best performance out, but I had so much other stuff going on that I really didn't care if I got that gig or not, and I ended up getting it. I just went in with a whole different approach. And that was back in early part of 1990. I started with him the later part of that year, and up till 2015 when we finished the tour, that's when he changed the band. So I was there that whole time. And in between that, I did the Dancing with the Stars tour and all that kind of stuff. You know, after they finished the TV show, they would do a road tour for the summer, and they would get as many of the stars that they had on the show to go do the road tour. So I was part of the road tour band, it was great. That was a lot of fun. So you know, I had a lot of little stuff going on. But I hope I answered your question. I probably answered a few of them now. Who's next? All right, what happened to that microphone? I'm still waiting for somebody to sing a song.
What were your like techniques for like looking after your voice and stuff?
Did you say something about Beyonce?
No.
Say it again?
What are your techniques for looking after your voice?
Oh, well, one big thing is this. A lot of water. I'm serious. You know, you gotta keep this thing lubricated all the time. You know, the vocal cords are really thin, you know. I don't smoke cigarettes. I try to eat good food all the time and get a lot of rest, and I do a lot of exercise. You know, I play a lot of basketball. Even at 62, I'm still playing basketball with my son and a couple of his buddies. Of course, they're flying past me now, but that's okay. Sometimes I anticipate where they're going. I get there before they go, hey, how'd you know I was going there? And between that and about 8, 9 months ago, I started swimming a lot. And I'm telling you, that was one of the things that was on my bucket list. You know, I got a couple other things too, but the swimming thing, I'm addicted now. I love it. And I tell you, you'd be surprised if you have any kind of, I don't know if, I'm gonna ask my doctor because I go for my physical this month. And you know how the allergies certain times of year, and we're in the summertime back there now, so, and we've had a lot of rain. So, I mean, everything is blooming like crazy, and the allergy, I mean, you can see pollen just flying all over the place. But I noticed with me swimming a lot, and you know, when you come up out of the water, of course, you know, all the stuff comes out of your nose and everything else. But it's been cleaning out my respiratory system, and you know, my sinuses have been like clear. So I've been okay. But you know, those are the things that you know, I know there's a lot of people that smoke and sing, and I've never been a smoker, but my guess is probably not a real good thing, you know, to make that a habit. But you know, there's a lot of people that do it. And as far as drinking, I have a glass of wine or a beer every now and then, but I don't get crazy with it. You know, you just gotta take care of yourself. I want to be like, I mean, take for instance Tony Bennett. He's 93 years old, and he's still going, and he sounds great. I mean, he's still singing really good. You know, there's a lot of people that when you get past a certain age, if you haven't taken care of yourself before then, it's going to take a toll on you later on. It'll catch up with you. So I'm trying to live to be at least 105. I hope I make it. But yeah, that's it. Just a lot of water, though. I'll tell you, water's good for you. Matter of fact, I need some right now. Someone else? Nobody? Hey.
The mic's on.
You use this one.
Thank you. This might be a bit of a personal question, but I was just wondering, particularly earlier in your career, or even now, or not just in America or internationally, as an African American, did you come across much racism in the music industry towards you, and was that a bit of a barrier or a challenge for you?
A challenge? A lot of music is always a challenge. I mean, when you get into things, like when I came down here, I mean, I do a lot of stuff, but I'm not a real, I mean, as far as reading music and all that, I can look at the chart and I see the notes going, okay, that's where my voice is going. But I'm not a sight reader and all that stuff. So when you're working with guys like Roger Fox and those guys in the big band, and everybody got charts in front of them, you know, I have to turn on something else. Because I go on, singing to me is feeling and all of that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, yeah, it'd be great. And you know what, I've been learning something. I've been working with a few groups like Roger Fox, and there's another guy in the Bay Area by the name of Tommy Igo, who also has a big band. And I want to do a lot more stuff with these guys. So I think I owe it to myself and to them to probably take myself a couple classes so that I can, you know, get a better handle on that stuff. But I think I do okay because I make sure that whatever I'm doing with them, I make sure that I learn the stuff, you know, and I really learn it, and to where I don't have to, I don't like having stuff in front of me to read, because when I have stuff in front of me that I have to be reading off of, then I can't communicate with the audience like I want to. You know, I want to be able to get into the song and make you guys feel it, because if you don't feel it, you're gonna either be talking when I'm singing and whatever, or you're gonna get up and leave and go to the bathroom or to the concession stand, and no, I want your full attention. So I make sure that I learn the material and immerse myself into it. That takes away all the nervousness and you know, because if only time that I get a little antsy is if I'm not sure about what I'm doing, and I hate that feeling. So I just make sure that you know, whatever stuff we're going to do, I get it, because everything that you do, if it's really something different from what you're used to doing, it's going to be a little challenge to you, but it depends on how you handle it. You know, you can make those challenges go away by just getting in and really learning and putting yourself into what you're doing and make the best of it. I hope I answered that question. Oh, you got another one?
No. Sorry, I'm not sure if you heard my question properly. I was just asking when, particularly earlier in your career, or any time, like either in America or internationally, did you come across much racism being an African American in the music industry? Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
No. You said racism.
Yeah.
I probably, the only place that I can maybe remember, besides the U.S., because it's still there, it's still big time. You know, everybody's trying to be in denial there, but you know, the interesting part is with this new president that we have, all those folks have come out of the woodwork now, and they say, oh, we got somebody that represents us now, so they're all showing up. So now we have to deal with that. But the only other place that I can remember maybe feeling a tiny bit weird, but not too bad, was the eastern part of Germany. That was, you know, but I didn't have too much area, because Europe is beautiful. I mean, there's so many great countries and stuff there, and everything is cool. But I can remember an incident in the eastern part of Germany that was a little weird for a minute, but it didn't get out of hand. But you know, it's a trip, because we have more problem with racism in the U.S. than everybody believes. You know, they're trying to be in denial on it, but you know, you can't sweep it under the rug for so long. And one thing that you have to understand is my forefathers, ancestors, and mother and grandmother and all of them, they really fought hard for us to, you know, be able to vote and have rights for this and you know, be just regular citizens just like everybody else. And we've come this far, And if you think we're going back there again, they have another thing coming. It's not going to happen. We're not going to stand for it. And that's it. You know, come to places like this, and everybody is just so cool that you never know. You might see me walking the streets around here one day. Hey, what are you doing here? I moved. Because there's a lot of folks moving out of the U.S. because of all the craziness right now. You know, I had and it's funny too, years ago I had a vocal student that she had two boys that were early teens, and her and her husband were having some problems. And this was right before George W. Bush was elected the first time. So we're doing a lesson, and she says, yeah, you know, me and my husband, we're probably gonna split up, and she said, you know, if this guy gets elected, I'm really thinking about it. Me and my husband split up, I'm really thinking about just moving, getting out of the country. Yeah, okay. You know, you never believe anybody when they say that. So now, flash forward about 4 or 5 years, with SANTANA, we're over in Monaco, down the south of France there. We're in Monaco, we're doing some shows down there. We finished this one show, and I'm walking from the venue, because the venue and the hotel are right on the same property. So I'm walking back to the hotel, and I hear, Tony! And I'm like, who the hell knows me down here? I turn around, and I see this lady walking towards me, and I go, this lady looks familiar. She said, she said, remember me? I went, I think so, I'm not sure. I forgot what she said her name was. She said, my name is so-and-so, remember we had the conversation where you were giving me vocal lessons? And I said, oh. I said, what are you doing here? She said, well, remember I told you that, you know, me and my husband were probably gonna get a divorce, and if George Bush got elected, then I was gonna lose. She said, well, I moved. Well, my boy's down here. She said, I got $5 million in the settlement. I came down here and I went into a business with somebody, and this is where we live, and I'm never coming back to the U.S. You know, there's a lot of stories like that right now. You know, it's we gotta learn to get to live together, because you know there's nothing gonna change. I mean, we're all human beings, and I like to be treated just like you do. I mean, in total respect, and you know, we treat everybody with kindness and help each other out instead of, you know, trying to be going against each other. The hatred thing, it really doesn't get you anywhere. It just makes things worse, and it's really a waste of time. And you know, I like hugging people and kissing and shaking hands, and that's where I come from. Even though when I did it down here, you guys got me sick, man. I was sick as a dog for about 3 days. And I still had to sing. That's the other thing. When it comes to performing, I mean, unless you were like almost on a deathbed, when they got to take you to the hospital and hook machines up to you, you get a cold or something like that, you gotta keep going. You'd be surprised on how much better sometimes you sing with a cold than when you do without. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know. You know, as long as it doesn't affect your throat, if you got a head cold that's just up here in the sinuses and all that, you can get away. Once it starts hitting the throat, that's a little bit different. But yeah, I had this, man, that thing was wicked. It was so bad, we were down in Napier, and I walk into the pharmacist, and the guy looks at me and goes, you don't look too good. I went, how can you tell? But he took me into the little, he suggested a few things for me, and he said, come on into the back room here. So he took me to this little back room that he had, and he gave me this little white tablet. He said, here, drink some water. He said, you're gonna be feeling good in a couple hours. Man, I need to go back down there and give him a high five. About 2 hours later, I was like, shoot, man, I'm ready to go now. I don't know what it was. I'm not asking any questions. But ever since then, I'm ready to go now. Who else got one? Somebody get the microphone up there.
Hi.
He,
How do such great singers like you project such a soulful voice? Where do you think the soul comes from in your music?
he's born with it. You either don't, you either have it when you're born or you don't. I mean, there's no other way to explain that one. You know, I think it's hard to teach somebody soulfulness. Soulful being, that's such a personal thing. You know, I mean, you can teach somebody how to sing, but being soulful is that's you're just born with that. I mean, that's and there's, I guess there's different degrees of soulfulness. I mean, who would you consider a soulful singer or whatever? Who's that again?
You.
Me? Well, of course. That's right, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, and it's something that it wasn't taught. I just feel it. You know, I mean, the minute I start singing, you know, I don't think about what I'm doing. I just go ahead and do it. And I go ahead and sing stuff, and hopefully I'm hitting the right notes. But if I don't, you know, it's better to make a big mistake than, you know, you make a big one, just keep going with it. Make it sound good after that, because you can always recover. But the soulful thing, yeah, that's just a feeling, and that's very hard to teach somebody that, you know, and you have to believe that you are soulful. You want to sing something for us? Let's see if it. Oh, come on, man. You can get down with your bad self. Someone else? Who's that?
Sorry, maybe.
Who's that up there?
You said too many hugs.
I did? You can never get too many hugs. In fact, I might hug everybody in here before we leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, if we did more hugging, we'd do a lot less fighting. That's true. And that is God's honest truth. But if you can hug somebody and fight with them at the same time, then you are bad. Shut your mouth. Oh, we're gonna give you a mic, huh?
How you doing?
Oh, good. What you got?
We're going on to the awards presentation.
Awards presentation.
Right.
Who gets an award?
Well, these people on this list, nobody knows.
Can I get one?
If you're gonna, I'm not gonna let you look at it if you're gonna read it.
Can I get one?
Do you need one?
Of course. I love awards.
Hey, Dave, give him a hug.
Oh, big one. We
The other day.
Thanks for, yeah, we did at the airport.
Yes, we did. No, it was
Everyone in the airport needs a hug.
It was at the restaurant in, where we at?
Oh, was it the-
Palm something.
Green parrot.
That was at the airport.
No. We were at the, after the show in Palm, what's it called?
Oh, Palm Sonora. Yeah. Well, that might have been that.
He don't remember.
Yeah, okay.